Welcome back to the deep dive. So here we are, day 356, December 22nd. And you can feel it, can't you? That strange quiet in the air.
That pause.
Yeah, that pause between the rush of the holidays and, the clean slate of January 1st. We're in that space where the noise just dies down for a minute.
And that's the opportunity.
Exactly. This is when real clarity can show up. It's not about listing your wins or making some huge, loud resolution. It's quieter. It's that recognition of what actually matters when you strip everything else away.
Right.
So our mission today is to dive into the sources that really capture that quiet truth. We want to arm you with this perspective before the new year pulls you right back into the old cycle.
And this is such a crucial exercise. We tend to confuse reflection with, just making a list of our wins and losses.
A tally sheet.
Exactly. But the sources, they push us to go deeper. They ask us to connect genuine reflection, the stripping away of what's false, with real, purposeful action. The goal isn't just to feel better. It's to understand what must drive you forward.
Okay, let's just jump right in because the first piece of wisdom from our source material, it hits you like a cold splash of water.
It really does.
The instruction is so simple, but it is absolutely devastating to, the modern way of thinking. It's be lesser and do more. I mean, think about it. Our entire system, from school to social media, it's all designed to teach us one thing. Be more.
Be more visible, more impressive.
Yes. Get more credentials, be more successful. And this instruction just tells you to dismantle that entire machine, to shrink the self until all that's left is pure, necessary action. Action without the need for applause.
It's a tough concept because when we hear be lesser, our defenses go up immediately.
Right.
We think it means losing status.
Right.
But the sources are really clear.
Yeah.
This isn't about that kind of false modesty, where you pretend to be humble, but you're secretly waiting for the compliment.
Yeah, that performative humility.
Right. Real humility, the kind that actually leads to impact, is about recognizing a much harder truth. That no matter how good you think you are, there is always someone better than you at something. And even if you're the top expert in your field, a child can ask a question that completely changes how you see the world.
Wow.
The second you think you've arrived, that you know it all,
Yeah.
that's the moment your growth stops.
And your influence starts to decay. That connects directly to the second paradox I found, which is don't strive to make your presence known, just make your absence felt.
Ooh, that's good.
I mean, think about it practically. You see people online constantly performing their success, right? Their presence is everywhere. But most of them, they don't leave a lasting impression. It's just noise.
But then you think about the opposite. The engineer who quietly fixes a problem that's plagued a company for a decade. The person on the team who just does the work and makes everything flow seamlessly.
Exactly. And when that person leaves,
The whole system just sputters. There's a void. And that void is the actual measure of their contribution. It means you were doing something that really, truly mattered.
and that idea separates what Charles Buxton called ability and zeal. We always focus on ability, right? Your skills, your degrees, your talent.
Of course.
Right.
It's what you possess. It's a tool set you can improve. But zeal is what possesses you.
I like that.
Ability comes from the ego's desire to be good at something. Zeal is that fire inside that says, I have to do this. It's a necessity, whether anyone is watching or not. That's a surrender to the work itself.
That idea of necessity, of being possessed by the work, brings us to what Stephen Pressfield calls the most merciless question of all.
Okay.
Why do you want it? You ask yourself that about your big goal. The promotion, the book, the business, and the sources list all the common answers that they fail the test immediately.
Let's hear them.
We want it for the attention, for the money, for fame, for power, or, and this is a big one, to prove someone wrong. We all have that person, don't we?
Oh, yeah. The ex, the parent who doubted you, that teacher from high school.
Exactly. And every single one of those motivations, when you boil it down, is just a version of the same thing.
Look at me. Validate me.
Yes. Tell me I matter because I did this thing. You're outsourcing your sense of self-worth.
So if all of those motivations get kicked off the island, what's left? What gets to stay?
According to the sources, only 2 answers survive that test.
Okay.
The first is you do it for fun or for beauty. The work itself is the reward. Creating something true is the whole point.
And the second.
The second is even more powerful. You do it because you have no choice. The work has chosen you. Not doing it would feel like a betrayal of who you are.
It's an internal demand.
It's an internal demand, and that's the core truth here. When your motivation is external, you're always at the mercy of the audience. But when it's internal, that fun, that beauty, that necessity, you are already home. You're free.
Which leads to maybe the most profound observation in all the sources we looked at.
Mm.
You can never get enough of what you don't need, because what you don't need won't satisfy you.
Wow. Say that again.
You can never get enough of what you don't need, because what you don't need won't satisfy you. If you're doing the work for fame or money, no amount will ever be enough.
Why?
Because you're trying to solve the wrong problem. You're trying to fill a hole in your sense of significance with something external, with money or fame. It's like trying to quench your thirst by drinking salt water. It just makes you thirstier.
You actually need to fix your core purpose, not get more achievements.
Exactly. Only work done from that internal fire can actually satisfy you, because the doing is the satisfaction.
Sometimes we need a real shock to the system to get that kind of perspective. And nothing accelerates clarity quite like confronting mortality.
It sounds heavy, I know.
It does, but the kind of clarity we're talking about at year's end is very similar to what happens when we're forced to think about how little time we have.
Robert Greene writes about this, looking at the 1665 London plague.
Right.
Daniel Defoe's account said something like 100,000 people died. It was staggering. But he also noticed this peculiar phenomenon among the survivors.
There is.
With death literally at their doorstep. All the petty things that divided people, religious squabbles, social status, old grudges, they suddenly seemed completely absurd.
It scummed off the gall, as Defoe said. The proximity to death just stripped away the importance of titles and money and property.
All that was left was their shared humanity, their vulnerability, the immediate need for compassion.
When you're facing that kind of uncertainty, you don't care about your neighbor's politics. You just care if they're okay.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it makes you ask, why do we need such an extreme event to get that kind of focus?
Well, thankfully, we don't. Gandhi gave us the perfect instruction for this. He said to hold two ideas at the same time.
Okay.
Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. The first part sharpens your focus. It creates urgency. What do I need to do now? The second part keeps you humble, curious, open to growth.
You're both focused and endlessly open to being taught. And that kind of clarity it annihilates envy. The sources remind us that envy is the only vice that gives the user no pleasure at all. It's just pure self-inflicted misery.
And when you truly get that all of this is temporary, the status, the money, the success, someone else's win can't possibly take anything away from you.
Only your bitterness can do that. The source puts it so bluntly, if you think someone else's gains are coming out of your pocket, then you've lost before you've begun.
You're playing a zero-sum game that doesn't even exist.
Exactly. You're wasting your finite time on a phantom competition.
And Ralph Waldo Emerson kind of brings this all home for us. He said, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us.
The past is done. The future isn't real.
All you have is right now. Your courage, your compassion, your creativity, that's the only currency that actually matters.
So if we're focused on what's within us, how do we expand that? Ludwig Wittgenstein had this observation: the limits of our language mean the limits of our world.
And we usually think of that as just vocabulary.
Right, but it's much bigger. It's about the frameworks you use to understand reality. If you don't have the language for a complex idea, you literally can't perceive it fully. Expanding your internal language expands your entire world.
But all that knowledge is completely useless if it doesn't change what you do. We all know people who can talk a great game about philosophy or strategy.
But they never actually do anything.
Yes. And Stephen Covey has the perfect line for this. He bridges the gap between thought and action. He says, to learn and not do is not to learn.
So simple.
It is. Theoretical knowledge is just intellectual decoration. It's an accessory. Real learning changes your behavior. It changes how you move through the world. It's the difference between having a gym membership and actually working out.
And that leads to what the sources call a mechanical truth about growth.
Yeah.
It's that doing the harder thing makes the easy thing easier.
That's not just a nice motivational poster.
Not at all. It's a literal description of how you build capacity.
Yeah.
When you choose the challenging path, because it's necessary, not because it's convenient, you are rewiring yourself.
You're doing resistance training for your character.
You are. And what seemed impossible becomes difficult. And what was once difficult becomes routine. The hard thing you choose today makes all the future hard things possible.
It all comes back to that idea of zeal and purpose. You do the hard thing not for the glory, but because it's necessary, because it's how you honor the time you've been given. As Og Mandino said, always do your best. What you plant now, you will harvest later.
And the planting, that's the point. The harvest is just a byproduct of showing up and doing the work.
So, as this year closes, the guidance from these sources is all about clarity through subtraction. It's about stripping away everything that doesn't actually matter. The ego's constant need for validation, the competitive instinct, the fear of not being enough.
And what's left is that pure internal motivation, the work that has to be done, driven by necessity and beauty, and brought to life by doing the hard thing.
It's why that final guiding principle from Rumi feels so right. Love is the bridge between you and everything. Not achievement, not recognition, just love expressed through the work you do. The beauty of just showing up.
And we want to leave you with one final thought, this one from the comedian George Carlin.
Okay.
He said, "Just when I discovered the meaning of life, they changed it."
Ah.
And I
Yeah.
want you to use that as a challenge this week. The meaning of life isn't some fixed answer we're all supposed to find.
It changes.
It changes because life is constant change, and we're supposed to evolve. Meaning isn't something you find once. It's something you discover every day in the choice to be lesser and do more and to keep questioning your assumptions.
The frustration isn't that the meaning changes, it's that we expect it to stand still.
Exactly. So your challenge now is this. How will you embrace that evolution? And how will you choose the harder thing today?